All right, we didn't show you too many shots of that violence because it's disturbing and we are a family channel after all. But it's really shocking, and I'm joined in our studio by Dorothy Thomas, lawyer, corporate lawyer, also a partner with Kochar and Company, a leading law firm globally, I would say. Shihan Hussaini is a martial arts instructor, both of them. In fact, Shihan Hussaini trains people in self-defense. Also joining us is the police commissioner of Coimbatore, Mr. Amrish Pujari, whose cops actually within 45 minutes arrested those assailants there. Mr. Pujari, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Now, it's really shocking what we saw. What were the members of the public doing there? Shocking that no one intervened. They could have really saved this man's life. It happened when the signal was red. It happened at a busy traffic intersection, sir.
Yes, Sanjay, if public would have intervened, they could have saved the life of that particular man, especially when the assailants were unarmed. So, public, yes, they could have intervened, and sometimes there is an apprehension that police will cite them as witnesses. I wish to assure that in such cases where public or members of public are helping fellow citizens, whenever the fellow citizens are under distress, we shall not cite them as witnesses without their consent. So public should come forward freely and help their fellow citizens whenever they are under distress. Here, as far as police is concerned, Sanjay, we arrested all the accused within 45 minutes of the incident taking place. We took the cue from the surveillance camera and identified the accused and the deceased. They were very close friends.
Mr. Pujari, even the Supreme Court has time and again said that medical attention first, legal formalities later. But we do know the average citizen today, they fear harassment and legal repercussions even while moving an accused, moving an accident victim to the hospital, let alone intervening in a murder in this case.
Well, there is some kind of a fear amongst public that they will get entangled in legal processes, which I wish to clarify that in such cases where public are coming forward to help fellow citizens, we would not compel anybody to be a witness in such cases. In fact, they can refuse to be a witness and we will accept their decision. The main thing here is to help a victim, rush him to the hospital, prevent such assaults if possible. So that is the main thing for us. And as far as this apprehension amongst the members of the public is concerned, I would say it is unfounded, because we will never be compelling anybody to be cited as a witness in such instances.
Right, Shihan Hussaini, easier said than done. Is that just a fancy statement made for television studios there? The cops will not compel anyone to be a witness, that you can actually go as a common citizen, go and intervene in a murder, do your good Samaritan act and go back home?
I'm absolutely shocked at the fact that a police officer like Amrish Puri sitting down in a television
Pujari,
studio.
don't change his name, Pujari.
Amrish Pujari sitting down in a television studio and very coolly says that the public should go and help. Do we all know that even the police in the Tinagaran case, the police were mute witnesses when 3 people were burnt? Practically speaking, it's absolutely cool and easy for people to show bravado and say, oh, the public should jump. The people who were murdered, the people who were murdering were not ordinary citizens. They were not, it was not a young woman who was being molested.
Now, let me tell you, talking of that, in Mumbai, in a train compartment, in a crowded train compartment some years ago, a mentally challenged girl was raped in full public view. Everybody sat and watched. Dorothy Thomas, I must bring you in here. You know, in school we learn of this rhyme, the children need time to stand and stare. Actually, adults practice what children should have learned. They stand and stare. Absolutely. If you go to Koturpuram, if you go drive along Koturpuram, the bridge, if some body is floating there, you will have, a lot of vehicles sort of lined up there, all looking at that. Nobody will go to help if there's trouble. But everybody likes this sort of voyeuristic tendency. Everybody likes to surround a fight, peep from the windows and see a fight going on. Nobody intervenes.
Right, that's very troubling. I feel actually seeing like such incidents, I feel very emotionally battered. Ashamed to be part of a society that has an I, me, myself attitude. Where is social responsibility today? It's important today. What's happened to Santosh or any other victim could happen to you, me, my son, my daughter. And this is something that has happened with
Let me stop you in your tracks here.
Let
me stop you in your tracks. You're talking about you, me and all that. But a young college girl, just recently, a few months ago, was allegedly being raped, or at least an attempt was made to rape her by her own father. He resisted that, in the process killed her father.
Right.
Where is she now? Cooling her heels in prison. She just come out on bail, of course.
Right.
So it's one thing to talk about it's one thing to talk about intervening. Here we're even talking of self-defense, and ultimately a charge of murder is slapped on you. How do you face that?
It's very wrong. In that case, I would say justice was not rendered appropriately. She had the right to.
No, but the law is such. The law straight away. The plea of self-defense comes in much later. It comes in as a defense to murder.
Correct.
Under section 96 to 100 of the IPC, it comes in as a defense to murder, and the trial is a punishment there.
Correct. Very often I see even judges, very tied down by the law and the legal statutes. Today we just had a Katta Panchayat. Things are very simple. They just go exactly by what the facts are and then the result of it. It's important that as a citizen, everybody's right is protected. We have our constitutional rights with us, we have our fundamental rights. Every person has a right to live. In such particular instances where the public is watching over some incidents like this, it's a shame to the society. We should voice our concern. We shouldn't, especially there was a large crowd, there was a battalion, an army.
Shanu Saini, you're a karate exponent. Those guys were drunk. Those guys were drunk. So many people, there were 200 people, the signal was red. They could have all come there, surrounded, at least separated them. We even saw in the Madras, in the law college some years ago, the students are beating themselves, beating each other, and the cops stood outside and watched. Let me ask Amrish Pujari, Pujari, a criticism raised in this case is that the police could have arrived earlier. Now, how far was the nearest police station from the scene of crime there?
Well, the police station was a little far off from that particular place, but there was a police constable around 200 meters away. There was a traffic constable. He was regulating traffic, not on the spot but nearby. In fact, he is the one, he noticed some commotion, he rushed to the particular spot, and he was there on the spot under 4 minutes, and he is the one who arranged for medical help, and the victim was taken to the hospital. He didn't die on the spot. In fact, he was grievously injured. And he succumbed to his injuries after 2 days when he was under treatment. So
again, just 1 second. 200 meters.
Who informed us about this incident, and we looked at the footage.
200 meters, Shian Hussaini. I mean, I don't expect a cop to be like a Hussein Bolt and do 200 meters in what, 18 seconds. No. But he took 4 minutes, and that's a golden hour. So the commissioner is making an important point there that he didn't die on the spot, and it took 4 minutes for the cop to reach. Possibly, if the policeman had reached earlier, at least the policeman took him to hospital. None of the public, members of the public did that.
May I respectfully say that, see, intervention is one, self-defense is one. In this particular case, there was a police cop there, and none of the visuals shows that the police cop ran and tried defending. If a police cop who was there himself had the first thing that he wanted to defend himself, how do you expect ordinary public to go there? Today, there are so many Tasmac shops all around the place, and every Tasmac shop, after the guy gets high, people start quarreling with each other. If public are going to come and intervene, trust me, the public are going to be the ones who are going to be affected. It is not the job of the public to be intervening in every
Thomas, very valid point
I totally disagree. We always try to pass on the buck. The enforcement authority has done their job. When called, they're promptly there. Of course, it's not as quick as in in the United States, where the traffic is not as bad as here. But we cannot put the blame on the enforcement authority.
We are talking about an instance where it has been the entire thing happened in an intersection.
So also, there's a CCTV monitored by a control room.
The moment he knew it, he came and assisted, and he took him to the hospital.
None of the visuals do we see a police officer.
But Dorothy, also the CCTV was connected to the control room, so they could have rushed reinforcements there. Now, I also want to ask you now, Shian Hussaini made an interesting point there, a valid point too. Now, Tasmac shops, we are having a television discussion on this today because it's something, a murder was caught on tape, and you can see the visuals also will be played out. Again, the backdrop of where I'm sitting, also the visuals are being played out. What about all those unseen, unrecorded incidents of violence near Tasmac shops? What about the thousands of wives who get beaten by their drunk husbands after they visit those Tasmac shops?
I agree. That's the very reason why we cannot pass on the buck to the enforcement authority. They can't be there every second watching what everybody is doing. Social responsibility plays into course.
Absolutely. That's
very important. That
Shiana, what is the police-public ratio? It's skewed. What is the police-public? One policeman for 800 people. That's the police-public ratio
Sanjay,
in the country.
The debate is not about the police-public ratio. The debate is about whether the public should have intervened there and stopped. When the cop did not have the audacity to rush there, none of the visual shows the cop there rushing.
You would need sensitivity.
Pushing the responsibility on one particular person who's not even there at the incident, when 200 or 300 people are watching a man being battered up.
Dorothy, there was a constable
That's equivalent to 100 policemen.
there. There was a constable there who was taking care of the traffic.
He was at the traffic signal. He never saw the incident.
Let me ask the Commissioner, Mr. Amrish Pujari, under the IPC, we all know that any member of the public can actually do what the law calls a citizen's arrest. Now, what is the difference between wrongful restraint and a citizen's arrest?
Well, it is like this. If a member of the public has reasons to believe that a cognizable offence is taking place and he is in a position to help the victim under section 43 of the CRPC, he can intervene and make an arrest and hand over the particular accused to the police station. Or to the nearest police officer.
I had the personal experience and you know about it. In Kodambakam, when I intervened, when the two people were run over and I took those two people to Vijaya hospital, trust me, I was called by the commissioner and threatened. He said, I, MGR or Rajinikanth to intervene. What is your business to intervene? This is the real state. And it became such a big issue, a case was registered against me, and that is the truth. We can talk in a television studio, we can talk about everything, but in reality,
for a common citizen,
I don't need to wear a cop's clothes. I don't need to wear a judge's
maybe because you're a lawyer.
No, not at all, not at all. I think it's a social response. It's very important for every person. No, today, this one incident, what has happened, has given birth to 10 incidents. Because nothing has happened, these guys...
The letter of the law is different from the practice of the law.
Absolutely.
What is there in our law books can be written and can be read and appreciated. And
Sanjay, this incident has nothing to do with...
What is the protection for I asked you the same question, I'll ask you this again. When you rush an accident victim to the hospital, people normally in Chennai are helpful. They would like to, for instance, there are deliveries which take place in auto rickshaws, right? Auto rickshaw drivers, despite all the notorious things said about them, there are good auto rickshaw drivers who play good Samaritans. They return jewelry and cash left behind. They also take victims to the hospital. The auto driver is the first person who actually plays good Samaritan on our roads. Yes. But it comes at a price, because tomorrow you will be harassed. The police will ask you, where did you pick this up? Why did it? What happened?
It's a misconception, Sanjay. It's an absolute misconception.
Sanjay, I must intervene. Sanjay, let's talk about this incident. We have seen a group of people. The guy who got beaten up was drunk. The guy who was beating was drunk. I would like to ask Dorothy, if Dorothy was there, would you have rushed? And what would you have done? What would you have done?
What would you have done?
Especially when I had 100 people, the police is not going to come and question any of them.
My question is, Dorothy, would you have rushed and tried stopping 4 drunken people from beating up a guy?
If I was alone, it's a different...
You can talk easily. I am a karate black belt and I know what would have happened even if a trained person had got done. And a woman, are you trained in karate?
I'm not.
No. If you're not trained in karate, had you rushed inside and you got caught in the middle, it is a stupid thing that any woman would want to do if you're not trained.
It's very unfortunate that you talk this way, because we're talking about an incident.
So would you have gone and prevented?
Absolutely. If I was alone,
living in an absolute fool's paradise.
I was not alone.
Possible.
I was not
How many people have you stopped?
I was 300 people there. I had 200 people there.
The Supreme Court, in a landmark judgment, had said, and I quote, it said, the biggest insult to an individual is to run away from the face of danger. All right? Even if danger is apprehended, even if the injury has not yet been inflicted on you, if you see someone coming menacingly towards you, perhaps with or without a weapon, you still can act in self-defense.
And it is the greatest folly to intervene where you're not supposed to intervene and get hurt in the process. There are 4 drunken people bashing up a drunken guy. For all that you know, if you had a public had intervened, they would have been the persons who lost their lives. I think it is upon them to be...
No, but
it was a huge battalion.
No, but Shihan Hussaini...
probably would have got hurt.
Shihan Hussaini is talking the language of the common man. No, but Shihan
Hussaini,
at whose cost?
At whose cost?
There was, in Trichy sometime back, there was an army major. Somebody had snatched his wife's chain. He chased that person and he was killed. An army major. So the point here, what Shihan is trying to say, this is what an average citizen feels, Dorothy. He's talking the language of the common man.
This is a misconception. The enforcement authority needs to provide comfort to the public, to the general public, that please, that nothing is going to be...
After they all sign up for self-defense courses at Shihan Hussaini's karate school, is it?
I strongly believe that every person has to learn self-defense, and the onus is on himself and herself to defend oneself.
Maybe Dorothy could have taken the pepper spray and
you have, and we have no right, to intervene everywhere and get into
you have a duty.
It
Yeah,
is.
but duty
It could be a
as a
duty of
citizen.
a person who knows what he's doing. It would, but it is a folly for anybody who just gets inside trouble. If I am there, I will be the first person to have rushed there. I am a black belt, an 8-degree black belt, and I know what I'm doing. Mr. Amrish, he would have rushed there because he knows what he's doing. But to expect a common person to rush there and get into the melee and to expect common people to rush to every fight that is going on in every corner of the city after people get a little tipsy high is to live in a world of folly.
There
Sanjay.
are two instances. One is when there's something like this happening and you're the only person watching it. Okay, the best thing you can do is pick the phone, call 100 and call the cops in. This is the second, this is an incident where is it?
We'll ask Amrish Pujari also the response time when you call 100. Mr. Pujari, also now that this whole tape has been caught, murder has been caught on tape, would you now be able to expedite the case and make sure it comes to its logical conclusion in record times, because you have the evidence on camera? You don't need even witnesses, although it may be tough for you to get witnesses now to come and testify in court.
Yes, we are exactly planning to do that, and this particular surveillance camera, it has not only provided us vital clues with regard to the investigation leading to the arrest of these accused, but we will be citing this as a crucial evidence in the court also. So it will help us in getting conviction, and we are going to lay the charge sheet within a week and ensure that these people are convicted.
All right. Sir, also, what is the average, this came up in our discussion now, what is the average response time when you call 100? How soon can you expect the police party to arrive at the scene?
In Coimbatore city, after we have revamped the patrolling system, now our average response time has been 3.5 minutes after a call is received in the control room. This 3.5 minutes is the average response time we have calculated based on the calls received and the way police have responded in the last 1 month. So the average response time for a police team to respond is 3.5 minutes.
If I am to play devil's advocate here and be a lawyer, I will again quote that 3.5 minutes is the response time. But the cop who was standing 200 meters away came there in 4 minutes, still 30 seconds late. Even if since you have been monitoring it there through the CCTV in your control room, even assuming that you didn't expect a cop to be there, the cop who was 200 meters away to rush to the spot, if you had sent a fresh patrol party, they would have reached in 3.5 minutes according to the commissioner.
See, I totally disagree that we should pass on. We should expect the enforcement authority to take charge of some incident that's happening in broad daylight.
No, but that's
where
their
everybody
job.
is
That's
there.
their job. They're paid to do it. They're trained to do it.
Look at the footage. You'll find all thagda men's there, okay, standing. Everybody together, they easily pulled off the 4 guys off.
It is easy said than done, Sanjay. It's not that easy for, see, you might want to respond first. The person who's going to go in first is going to get hurt. If you know the mechanics of actual field, what is happening in the field, suddenly all of them are not going to rush together. It's not like a guy says, okay, charge, and everybody runs together.
I feel
Remember,
ashamed.
we're here, it's the time when a police cop himself did not go there. And I wish to ask you and to Mr. Amrish as to what action has been taken against that cop who did not rush there immediately. We're all talking about the public not being there.
The poor fellow at least took
4 minutes time.
No, but he took him to the hospital. He didn't die on the spot. He took him to the hospital.
It is the onus on him to take a person to hospital. See, he should have prevented the death of the person. Why did he not rush first? Action has to be taken against him for failing in his duty.
Are we being too harsh on the cop who took
No, absolutely very harsh, because I know what happened in the incident. The cop was there taking care of the traffic, and the moment he knew it, he rushed to the spot. He took the person to the hospital.
Sanjay, we are all witness to the entire episode on tape. From the place, you can see that they were all standing in an intersection. The man, it does not take 4 minutes for the guy to look at the incident, find out what the hell is happening, and when everything is over, to go down and rush to the place.
He cannot also leave the traffic unattended, right? If he cannot leave the traffic unattended.
So what? A murder is happening. A traffic attendance is not.
I think we should appreciate him. He took him to the hospital.
All right, Mr. Pujari, also, are you taking steps to equip the, at least now you got it on tape, to equip the public with the competence to intervene in such situations? Perhaps, I don't know, bring in Shian Husseinis to other cities as well and help him train people in self-defense. And are you also installing CCTVs across the city, sir, after this?
Yes, in fact, we have launched a drive to install more surveillance cameras, and not only in traffic junctions but other public places, also remote places. All these areas will be covering through more surveillance cameras. Within this month, we are going to install 50 more CCTV cameras, surveillance cameras in the town. And through the local media here in Coimbatore, I have already clarified to the people that they should come forward to help fellow citizens.
All right,
I would only very respectfully tell the Commissioner of Coimbatore that more than having in the CCTV cameras all around the place, we should create a system whereby any police, I'm sure this constable never had even a pepper spray or even a gun. Had he if he were equipped with a gun, he could have fired in the air.
Normally police
or at least have a pepper spray which costs about 500 rupees. He could have gone and sprayed on the eyes of these guys. He could have prevented the murder. Why is it that the Coimbatore police cannot
look, there are two-wheeler riders there. There are the cars there. Look at the visuals there. They could have got out if they had pepper sprays too and sprayed. Why only blame the cop? Why do we always try to make a scapegoat of officers?
Now we are talking about a police cop whose duty it is to prevent the crime, and the public
If you go strictly by rules, then he was a traffic cop. Right, law and order doesn't fall under his jurisdiction. Tomorrow he may also be pulled up internally for intervening.
Sanjay, you're talking about a cop looking at a murder and saying it is not his job. His job is only to.
It's also the duty of a citizen to intervene.
It is a duty of a citizen, but the citizen in a practical state will first take care of himself. He would like to defend himself.
That is the public apathy that we are talking about. That is the public apathy that Dorothy is talking about.
The public apathy stems from the fact that they themselves are not equipped to take care of themselves. So the key word is that everybody has to be trained in self-defense so that they will know what to do when they go inside. That's the key.
I agree with that.
There can be no disagreement on that.
I also agree that we should have better equipped cops. We should have police cops, especially around Asmak areas.
You notice that in peacetime, unless there's a band, though, unless there's some a blast somewhere or some security, or maybe on certain days like Independence Day, the cops don't carry their service revolvers.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So what would they do in such case? Even a lathi in this case, perhaps even with a lathi you could have with a lathi you could have separated.
Forget about a lathi. Had the guy rushed there, it would have made a world of a difference. It would have taken him about, practically talking, from the place where he was standing to that place, it would have taken him hardly about 10 to 12 seconds. Had that guy ventured out, let me finish.
200 meters, 10 to 12 seconds, even Hussein Bolt can't do it.
200 meters, boss.
He said 200 meters.
So the traffic is standing there. From the place where the guy was there to go down there, it would have taken him just about 12 to 20 seconds, the maximum.
So what you mean?
And had the police cop taken the lead, trust me, the public would have come.
Okay.
So the stance is that anything happens, don't worry, boss. Cops will come. Just stand ahead and watch.
I am not saying you don't do anything. Had the cop taken the lead, the public would have followed.
Fair enough.
He came on
time. He came after 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Dorothy, 4 minutes after the guy was hit mortally.
We make the police sometimes a convenient whipping post. I must also tell you, let's ask the commissioner about the number of calls that are made to 100. Mr. Pujari, do you get a lot of crank calls that are made to 100, and does that sort of make you more skeptical about sending your people out, sending your forces out whenever you get these calls?
We used to get some crank calls, and with the result, many times public used to get the control room number as engaged. In fact, coincidentally, today only we have arrested one person from Tuticorin who was in the habit of making crank calls to our control room. And interestingly, when we arrested him today, when our team reached his house, he was making a call to, you guessed it right, to our control room only, and we caught him red-handed. Today he has been arrested and he's been produced before the magistrate for remand.
Amresh Pujari, after going to Coimbatore, you're catching a lot of people red-handed there. But that's an important point there, that you get the number of crank calls. That sometimes even, you're flooded with all these crank calls. You don't know what's a genuine complaint and what's not.
Sanjay, I am sure the police commissioner and the commissionerate of Coimbatore is equipped well enough to find out who is making such calls. With the change technology, they can just track them down in seconds. So we cannot use that as a truth to say that, we can't react to all calls.
We still haven't found out who made that call, the person who kidnapped Tamanna in Chennai.
That does not matter. That does not mean the police cannot track down such offenders and say that we cannot respond to all calls.
Fair enough. Dorothy, again, the doctrine of proportionate force that has been dealt with extensively by our high courts and the Supreme Court also.
Yes.
That if someone comes to you with a small knife, you cannot necessarily use a firearm and kill him. How do you then, can you really, the Supreme Court also dealt with this, can you balance this at a crucial juncture, at a time when your life is in danger, weigh the pros and cons with golden scales?
Well, we cannot, and it's all a question of what has transpired, the background of the facts. Each case is different in its own context. So, and the Supreme Court is well aware of it, and the High Court has protected several instances wherein self-defense has been used as a tool.
What would you say to people who follow your advice and go and intervene in something like this in a clash?
See, if you're a group, if you have public around you, you have support around you, and you're seeing something that is not correct.
But you know what will happen, Dorothy? Even if you're in a group, I kind of in a way agree with Shihan Hussaini, because we've seen this happen. I mean, we cover mob violence several times in our career as journalists. One person goes, the others don't necessarily follow them. They also watch, and then something happens to them. They say, "Stupid fellow, why didn't he intervene?"
Absolutely.
This is a common refrain,
So
Dorothy.
then, in which case, the attitude of the society must change.
How do you propose to do that?
Well,
we can't do that from television studios, of course. But
actually, you can. Media, the people who are watching, who watched this incident and saw this guy die, I'm sure each one is having a bad night
sense of
or
guilt
sense
about
of guilt,
not having done
very
anything.
ashamed. Absolutely, absolutely. They're men, not just women.
no, but then there are people. There's a sense of abet. I mean, we abet. We are experts at abetting something.
I object to Dorothy saying they were men, but not they are not women.
Sorry about that.
No,
That's
you
all
can't say such a
Sexist,
thing. But
that's
woman
sexist.
is much more stronger than a man, and I don't think this is the
I agree
right
with
forum
you.
where you should differentiate.
All right,
woman
slip
and
of the
man.
tongue, she takes her word back.
Yeah.
But there are people who abet violence, like in a colony or in an apartment building. You know, you can hear somebody shrieking in pain. You know, somebody is beating his wife. How many people go and intervene?
Sanjay, I had the practical case of intervening when a guy was hitting a woman on Kotalpuram road. I went down and caught the guy and tried to. The woman started turning against me and said, "Who the hell are you to hit my husband? It's not your business." So
they made up after that.
Well,
In case
then,
you
of
turned
course, I
peacemaker in
backed
a
up
sense.
both of them, and I made sure that they were handed over to the police for creating a kind of a nuisance in public.
Section 75 of the City Police Act.
Most of the times when you try intervening, they say it's not your business. If the persons who were there, they were trained in karate. If there were two people who were trained in karate, I trust that they would have definitely rushed to the rescue. Unfortunately, among the public who were there, they were just ordinary citizens who had no wherewithal or the capacity to not only defend themselves but to save this guy. So I don't think it is anybody's business to immediately point blank blame the public and say they should have gone there. I think the policeman has to be held guilty for not rushing immediately and taking the lead in getting the public along with it.
All right, since I'll hold both of you to your promises, Dorothy Thomas, since you've given people advice that they should intervene, no matter what.
Where they can, they must.
If people get caught in a sort of a legal tight spot in a sense,
Sure.
can they come to Kochar and Company and will you help them?
Absolutely, we
You
will help them. Absolutely.
Kochar and Company as CSR will take it up.
We will help them. Our CSR will take it up.
On record?
On record.
Okay.
On record. We have a free
and
legal.
on record.
Yeah.
And on record, if the Commissioner of Coimbatore arranges a self-defense program and prepared to teach thousands of people free of cost.
In Coimbatore and
In
elsewhere
fact,
as well.
Santhosh's wife
Anywhere.
has a right. She has filed a petition. She has a right to move the writ petition. She also has a right to claim whatever compensation she needs or a job from the government. That's all she is asking for, and we will support her.
Yeah, certainly, our heart goes out to that lady and also the children.
Small child.
The child
Yeah,
is left behind. Shihan Hussaini, if you can, I know you've been doing the self-defense workshop for us on NDTV Hindu for our viewers every morning. In fact, we play your techniques in self-defense. And hats off to you for doing that. Must say that you're doing it free. You're not charging us for this, but if you can, to all our viewers who are watching this show, if you can give us sitting right there a few tips, if you can demonstrate, as to how you could actually go and intervene in such situations, how you can defend yourself if you, let's say, if you're passing through a Tasmac shop and some drunk fellow acts funny with you.
The easiest way to restrain a guy.
One second, if the camera can also sort of zoom into you so that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
the easiest way, if I have a person, I'll be able to show. The easiest way to restrain a guy is to straight away go for his neck and grab him. However strong the guy is, even if a woman does that and puts a lock, it will restrain a
but
guy.
How practical are you? Which woman will go and catch a guy like that?
No, anybody can try. We are just saying that we can't do that. The most, even if you're a big karate guy, the best way is to go down, catch the neck and hold it tight till help arrives. This is what I would advise to all the people watching this session right now. A. B. I would want the Commissioner of Police in Coimbatore to take this offer and make sure that he calls me over there and trains a large group of people in Coimbatore, basic self-defense techniques.
Give us a few other tips that, let's say, let's say a young girl who's passing through a Tasmac shop and the drunk men are misbehaving with her. What can she do to defend herself?
A simple technique is to take a pen or a pencil and take it, clench it in a hand and straight dig into the eye of the guy. A. B. Clench the fist and straight hit at the neck. It's a very, very simple technique but absolutely effective.
Lethal?
It's lethal. Sometimes it can become lethal if a lot of power is used, but then at this moment they cannot think whether it's going to be lethal or non-lethal. They have to defend themselves, their honor, and according to the law, even if you have a slight apprehension that somebody is going to touch you or dishonor you, you have the right of self-defense.
All right. Shanu Saini, thank you very much. We will take it up with the police authorities also to see if they are interested in taking up your suggestion. But really, it's good of you to have actually offered that. Also, Dorothy Thomas offering that as a CSR initiative that Kocher and company will defend such cases in case people get into a legal tight spot as well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you also, Amrish Pujari, for sparing your time as well, sir. Pleasure to have you on our show. But Evelyn Matthew will be up with back with more news. Stay tuned.
Well, lots more news from the city, the state, as well as national news coming your way, but that's up on the other side of this break.